everyone, and welcome to Atlanta Inno's Bytes with a Beat. I'm Erin Schilling, the technology reporter for Atlanta Inno and the Atlanta Business Chronicle, where I cover all things tech and innovation happening in the city. If you're not familiar with Atlanta Inno, we're part of a network of publications across the country where we cover local innovation in different markets. You can check us out on the Atlanta Business Chronicle site, or you can subscribe to the twice a week The Beat newsletter and get innovation news straight into your inbox. This series, Bytes with the Beat, is sort of modeled after that newsletter, and we have short one-on-one conversations with thought leaders, founders, and innovators in the Atlanta community. And today we are welcoming the new CEO of ParkMobile, Jeff Perkins, and I am wearing my license plate shirt to celebrate ParkMobile. So thank you so much for being here, Jeff. I appreciate it.
I was just going to give you a big compliment on that shirt. That is really cool. I'm looking for, I grew up in New Jersey, so I'm kind of looking for the yellow New Jersey license plate on there. I can't quite make it out over Zoom.
I know, I honestly don't actually know if these are real plates or not, or if they're just colorful, and I'm wearing, like, you can't see them, but bike earrings. So I'm mobility themed today.
There you go. There you go. Awesome.
Awesome. Well, to start, Jeff, if you just want to tell us a little bit about ParkMobile and about how you got to where you are now, transitioning into the CEO role.
Yeah, sure. So ParkMobile is headquartered in Atlanta. It was started in Atlanta around 2008. And we've really we've grown a lot since those early days. So I joined the company in 2017. We had about 8 million users of the app. Today we have around 26 million users of the app. So we've just had really exponential growth. And what we help people do is park smarter. So instead of paying cash to an attendant or going to a confusing meter, you just use the ParkMobile app. It's quick and easy. You pay for parking on your phone and you go about your business. And so people really like it. They prefer contactless, especially coming out of the last year and a half of COVID, where people were maybe a little bit more hesitant to touch a piece of hardware. We saw really a lot of adoption of people moving towards contactless payments. And so it's been really a great run for me since I've been here the last 4 years. And I'm really excited about really the next 4 to however many years in the future, especially taking over as CEO now. So I joined as the Chief Marketing Officer. And then in 2020, I added some product and technology responsibilities to my portfolio. And so I was really running a large chunk of the business. And so we were acquired in June of this year by a company called Easy Park. They're out of Sweden. And after the acquisition, our current CEO or outgoing CEO, John Ziegler, made the decision that he was going to move to the board and pursue a different CEO opportunity. And so I was really there and kind of raised my hand and said, I'd like to step in and take on this challenge and responsibility for this next leg of the race. And so that's how it happened. So really excited. I mean, I think in 4 years at ParkMobile, I've really never been more excited about the future of what we can do. Our business is really back. We had a challenging year with COVID. We're seeing people getting out there more, parking more often. Cities are getting busier and busier. And so it's just, we have a really bright future ahead.
Mm-hmm. Awesome. So coming into this role, like, what are some of your priorities? And then what are you, I don't know, maybe like didn't expect or worried about as you sort of take on more responsibilities?
Sure. So, I mean, it's nice that I know the company very well. So I've been at the company for several years. I know how it operates. I've run different departments in the company. So for me, it's not that different from what I've been doing. It's kind of sort of a natural evolution into this role. And as far as what I want to focus on as the CEO of the company, I always boil it down to kind of three core things for us to be successful. We have to have the best products, and we do today, but we have to keep innovating to make sure our products stay ahead of the other competitive products in the category. So the best products, to have the best products, you have to have the best people. So it's all about making sure across the organization, we're staffed with great people. We're investing in our people. We're training our people. And when there are openings, we're bringing in great new people to the organization to help us continue to grow and accelerate in our growth. But to get the best people, you have to have the best culture, right? And so that's something that I think is going to be a big focus for me over the next 12 to 18 months. Before COVID, ParkMobile had, I think, probably one of the best cultures of any Atlanta-based technology company. We had about 175 people in our office in Midtown, 5 days a week. We have lunch and learns and happy hours. We spent a lot of time together, and we didn't just have to work together. We liked working together because we had this really fun, vibrant culture within the company. COVID has made that a challenge because we shifted last year to virtual work, and we're still virtual for the most part. And it's hard in a virtual environment to recreate that kind of in-person interaction. And that is something I'd like to get back to eventually, when we feel like there's a point where it's safe for everyone to be back in the office, getting people back together more often, collaborating in person much more often. I was joking with one of my coworkers, there's only so many Zoom culture events you can do, and Zoom happy hours. It just it like wears on you after a while. And especially we're sort of a meeting centric, collaboration centric culture. So we already spend a lot of time on Zoom. And then kind of the last thing you want to do at 5 o'clock is jump into a Zoom happy hour after you've been on Zoom for eight hours. So I think trying to get back to really what our special sauce was, which was our culture and our ability to kind of collaborate in person, that's going to be a key focus. So really, back to my point, it's those three things. It's products, people, and culture, and that's going to be my focus for the next 12 to 24 months.
Mm-hmm. Are all of your employees based in Atlanta, or do you guys also have people elsewhere?
We have probably about 80 to 85% of our employees are in Atlanta, and then the other 15% are spread out in different markets, and those are mostly our sales team. So we have different salespeople around the country, and they're positioned strategically to sell into key markets and regions that we operate.
Mm-hmm. Do you foresee sort of keeping that like big headquarters base of most of your employees in Atlanta, or do you see sort of also opening other office hubs in other markets?
I don't think we're going to open other office hubs. I think Atlanta will continue to be HQ for us going forward. So we'll have the most employees here, but we do want to expand our presence around the country. Especially, we have some parts of the country where we have no people, but they're really big parking markets. So if you look at the West Coast, the Pacific Northwest, we have a few people over there, but we believe that if we had more people there, we would generally get more business. So we're going to always look at where there are opportunities, and then strategically position key employees, especially sales personnel, in a lot of those areas so we can capitalize on them.
Mm-hmm. Okay, cool. Well, you mentioned sort of, staying on top of, being the most innovative parking company and stuff like that. And I remember I talked to ParkMobile February, maybe, and John had mentioned like that was a big thing that you guys focused on during 2020, when everything was sort of up in the air, of just really innovating in the parking space and really working on your product. So what are some, things that you guys have been doing, and then also sort of like trends that you see in the parking mobility industry that you think might be upcoming for ParkMobile?
Yeah. So one of the big things for us that we focused on really last year and in our roadmap for this year is this concept, we call it meeting consumers where they are, right? And that's really important to us. So it's making sure we're not forcing consumers to do something maybe they don't want to do because that's the way our app is built, or that's the way we process payments. So if you think about parking, historically, usually, before there was ParkMobile, you only had one choice if you were going to pay for parking. You went to the meter and you put coins in the meter, right? And ParkMobile really opened up more choice for consumers. So now you can pay at the meter, or you can pay in the ParkMobile app. And choice is good, and consumers generally like choice. But we're seeing more and more that consumers are saying, well, I don't want to download a full-featured mobile app. And that's not something I don't need. I'm not in the city that much. I don't need to have that app on my phone. So for that kind of segment of consumers, we introduced a lightweight web app. So instead of having to download an app from the App Store and set up an account, you can just go to parkmobile.io and pay for parking, and you don't even need to create an account. You can check out as a guest. And that's a product that we launched earlier this year that's been hugely popular with a lot of people. So still the lion's share of transactions go through the iOS app or the Android app, but we're seeing what we call this web app really getting a lot of traction, and we'll expect that to continue. And that's an example of meeting consumers where they are. A few other examples, so we can now use ParkMobile to pay for parking right from the Google Pay app. Right. So, and you don't even need the ParkMobile app. If you have the Google Pay app on your phone, and that's where you manage all of your credit cards and all your payments to different services, you can just use that app to pay with ParkMobile. So again, just looking for different ways where we could get ParkMobile more widely distributed to people, make it easier for them to pay for parking, and meet the consumers really where they are. So that's one of the core things that we focus on, is innovating in a way that's going to make the app more sticky for people and easier to use, and give consumers a lot more choice in the way they pay for parking. Then the second part of it is really looking for ways to expand ParkMobile beyond parking into other mobility services. So you talked about your bike earrings, right? We're very aware that not everyone is going to be driving, not everyone is going to be parking. And so we want to make sure ParkMobile is a product that goes beyond the parking space. So one example, a product that we launched this year that goes into the broader mobility ecosystem is around tolling. So paying for highway tolls, right? So we think that is very interesting. And another way you can use your same ParkMobile account where you have a payment method set up, and you don't need a transponder unit to put in your car. When you go through the toll booth, it takes a picture of your license plate. We get that data into our system. And if you opt into the program, it just charges your ParkMobile account. So really easy, really frictionless for the consumer. And it makes travel and mobility a lot easier. The third thing we're looking into now and we're exploring is around the autonomous vehicle. And we think this is an area that is not, you're not going to see it really hit over the next 12 to 24 months, but this is how you have to look kind of downfield as a company. We know more and more people are going to be driving autonomous vehicles, or I should say, autonomous vehicles are going to be driving more and more people in the future. And we've spent a lot of time building a solution that can go into a car, and so it can enable that autonomous vehicle to start a parking session or to lift a gate in a garage. So if the autonomous car needs to go and get serviced after it drops some people off, it can, direct itself to a garage, lift the gate using the ParkMobile system, and then within the garage actually go and get charged, get cleaned, get any other services, but do all those transactions through the ParkMobile infrastructure. So really exciting future that really for us opens up a lot more opportunities to really just get deeper with our users, to open up a lot of new revenue channels for us. So really exciting future on the horizon for our business and where we're going. But with our business today, there's still huge opportunity in just the parking business, because for every city that we operate in, 50% of people pay at the meter, 50% of people pay on ParkMobile. So we're going to continue to see more migration from the meter to just our core app over time. And so that business continues to grow at a very fast rate as well.
Because I think you mentioned this before we started the call, but you guys are pretty much in every city in the US, correct?
We're in most cities. So we're in 8 of the top 10, over 500 cities across the country. So most places where you go, you're going to see our bright green signs, and that's an indicator that you can pay with ParkMobile in that location.
Cool. Yeah, I get so excited when people talk about autonomous vehicles. Like, it's so futuristic to me, even though people are, actively testing this and there are sort of self-driving cars out there, but the idea, that it could be in a car that's driving itself and then it just opens a gate and, pays for parking itself and all of that is so cool to me.
Yeah, it's interesting you say that, because a lot of people say to us, they said, well, Jeff, once there's autonomous cars on the road, no one's going to need to park anymore. And actually the opposite is true, because when are fleets of autonomous cars on the road, those cars, when they're not in use, are going to have to go somewhere, right? It's very important. Cities are not going to let autonomous cars just circle the block for 8 hours waiting to pick someone up. So they're going to have to go somewhere. They're going to have to park somewhere. And we are designing the rails so they can do that through our system.
Interesting. I want to talk a little bit more specifically about like mobility in Atlanta, because obviously that's a huge topic with just our, infamous traffic and, all of that bit. Like we're a very car-centric city. And I know there's been discussions in the city about sort of the battle for curb space. Like, should we do parking? Should we do rideshare? Should we open it more to pedestrians? Is ParkMobile working with the city of Atlanta to sort of figure out some of those mobility issues and streamline parking in the city, so like in order to allow the city to also have that more like walkability that people want?
Yeah, so we're always talking to the city about those topics, and especially when it comes to parking. And one of the real benefits that we have that we bring to the city of Atlanta and other cities is we have amazing data on what people are doing, where people are going, what areas of the city people are parking a lot at, what areas of the city don't, people really aren't parking very much. And so we can help cities use that data to really figure out what should we do with our parking program. Because most cities across the country, they just, they look at the city, they say, okay, these are busy areas, paid parking everywhere, same rates everywhere, same hours allowed to park everywhere. And that's how parking has evolved over time, where it's just, there's not a lot of nuance to parking programs. Sometimes it's like, here's the rates and rate for this city. And that's it. We think with the data that we have that we can provide to cities are going to be able to make much smarter choices about what areas they have paid parking, what areas they have free parking, where they charge for parking during certain times of day. Maybe certain parts of the city, they should charge more during certain times of day and less at other times of day. So we think in the future, cities are going to make much more smart decisions about how they structure their parking program and their paid parking programs. And also look at areas where potentially there's not paid parking today, but maybe there should be. So if there are parts of the city where cars are going and they're just sitting there all day, those are parts of the city that are really good candidates for potentially having paid parking, because the goal of a paid parking program is to get cars to turn, right? So if you have a busy retail area and there are 50 parking spaces and there's no parking policies there, those 50 cars could stay there all day. And the impact is that it hurts the retail businesses there. It hurts it hurts everything there, because you're not able to get cars in and out. It creates a bad experience for the person driving in because they can't find a parking spot. So we think the kind of next phase of parking for cities is using the data that's available and out there to make different kinds of decisions on their parking programs than they have in the past. And maybe it is, we're seeing a lot of cities now, because of COVID, they shut off paid parking, or they took over sidewalks for restaurants, right? And you're going to see more cities trying out different things. Bike lanes, pickup drop-off zones is a really big deal now, with so many Uber vehicles and Lyft vehicles on the road. You have to have safe areas where they can go pick up pedestrians and drop off pedestrians. So as cities kind of push into the future, you're going to see a lot of these changes to parking policies based on, one, the data they're getting, and then two, making sure that they're adapting kind of to the changing mobility habits of consumers.
And that makes sense. So then having sort of that ParkMobile data of where people are actually parking, then it could be like, well, no, you should not take out this lot and put only delivery drop off here because it's really busy. Like, like that kind of insight that you guys could provide.
Yeah, exactly. Or, put loading zones on this street because this street is generally fairly, empty from a parking perspective during the day. So this should be your loading zone street. And then people could load here. And then you get big trucks off of like the main arteries, right? Because you have specific loading zone areas for them. Those are all the kinds of things that smart cities are starting to look at today. And also, and if you think about cities and accessibility and inclusivity, ADA accessible parking is really important. And so we actually launched a feature earlier this year where cities can tell us, these are the ADA accessible parking spots that are on street across the city. And then so a user then can use the ParkMobile app and go and find those specific spots and filter based on ADA accessible spots, instead of trying to drive around forever and trying to find where are the ADA accessible spots near me.
Interesting. So is that data that you're talking about, is that something that you guys in the city of Atlanta already work on, or is that sort of an upcoming partnership?
Yeah, so we share the data with them today.
Oh, okay.
They have the data. They can make decisions based on that data today. But what actually we have coming is really even more exciting. So we were acquired by a company called Easy Park. They're out of Sweden. And Easy Park has a technology where they're able to really create kind of a complete inventory of all the parking in a city, and help that city make smarter decisions based on supply and demand, based on rates across the day. So we're really excited about this new owner and bringing that solution to the city, because we think it's just something that's going to really help us as we evolve our product. Because we want to not just be a parking app and something that someone uses. We really want to be a partner to the cities that we work with and help them not just with a solution, but actually help them on their overall program. So they could come to us, and we can help them make smarter decisions based on the data that we have.
Interesting. So I want to talk about that acquisition a little bit. Obviously you just said one of the things that is changing with Easy Park's involvement, but so is the ParkMobile brand sort of staying the same? Like, is anything sort of like, what is the acquisition otherwise, I guess, changing with ParkMobile?
Yeah, so we were previously owned by BMW and Daimler, so two big automobile companies out of Germany. And with BMW and Daimler as owners, they were very good owners. They had, obviously they have a lot of resources, but they made a decision during COVID that they wanted to focus on their core business. So they wanted to focus on the car, and they wanted to exit some of the businesses that were not specific to the automobiles. And that's why they made the decision to sell us. So the buyer, Easy Park, they're just like ParkMobile, but they operate in Europe, right? So they have a big footprint in the European market across the UK, Germany, Netherlands, Spain, Italy. They're a little bit bigger than we are as a business. The way that we're approaching this is that we're going to continue to run ParkMobile like we have in the past. So we're going to continue to operate the business. We have kind of our plan for the next few years. We want to execute that plan. But we're going to look for opportunities globally to share technology, share best practices. And where there are good ideas out of the Easy Park team in Europe, we're going to bring those to the US. Where there are good ideas in the US that they can adopt in Easy Park, they'll take those ideas over there. So it's really exciting. There's going to be a lot more global collaboration and sharing going on. They have very innovative solutions over there in Europe. Their market's probably a little bit more mature from a parking perspective. So that's great for us, because we think there's a lot of things that they're doing that we can bring to the US. And likewise, so ParkMobile has a reservations program. So you can, in addition to the on-street parking, which most people know us for, you can make parking reservations in garages or at sporting events, at stadiums. And that's something they don't have in Europe. So it's something they're looking at. Is that a business that they can bring over there? So I think it's going to be really a great partnership. A lot of opportunity to collaborate globally and share best practices and help both of our businesses grow. As far as the brand goes, there have been really no decisions made. Probably we're going to stay with the ParkMobile brand for at least the near term. So we're in so many cities across the country. I talked about our green signs before, but we have about 10 million signs around the country that say ParkMobile, which makes rebranding
a little difficult,
a little bit challenging. So I would anticipate we would probably keep the ParkMobile name, because that's what most people know ParkMobile in the United States. But we could look at ways to, maybe integrate the Easy Park brand into our brand over time. So we're still talking through that. We haven't made any decisions, but I would expect our green signs are going to stay up for a bit longer.
Okay, awesome, cool. Well, we're almost out of time, but is there anything else that you want to mention that you sort of want to leave the viewers with about ParkMobile, or sort of the mobility, the acquisition, or any of the things that we've talked about?
Yeah, well, I just hope, because this is an Atlanta specific publication, and we really appreciate the coverage that you guys have given us over the year. but we are just so excited to be an Atlanta-based company and to just see, not just ParkMobile, but to see the entire tech ecosystem in Atlanta has just been exploding. And I know you, as a reporter that covers tech, we're keeping you very busy, obviously.
Yes.
But we're just so proud to be an Atlanta-based company and to really just be part of this community that where we're all just really crushing it and having great success, and we're all kind of supporting each other as we're doing that. So we're proud to be an Atlanta company. We love our Atlanta colleagues across the other tech companies here, and we look forward to many more years of success going forward.
Awesome. Yeah, I came on about a year ago and everyone was like, you came at the perfect time that Atlanta is just sort of exploding. So it's definitely been very exciting.
Yeah, we're keeping you busy, Erin.
Yes,
for sure.
for sure. Well, thank you so much, Jeff. I really appreciate you being here today.
All right. Thank you. Take care.
Yep. Bye.